Joshua Shediak. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Nailed it. Thank you so much, Melody Rachel.
All right. So we're both beginner content creators, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been creating content online for like a little over 4 months?
Yes. The history is I used to create YouTube videos when I was 15 of me crip walking, which are still out there. And some of I have never beaten the views that I have on a tutorial on how to do a very basic crip walking move, which has like 5,000 views. And then I let it go for a while. Was a dance teacher, street magician, acting for 8 years. And in the last 4 months, decided I've got this huge bank of hundreds of ideas I'm always writing down, and they're just going to go to the graveyard with me unless I express them somehow. And then I started finally finding the courage to putting things out there.
Oh, that's awesome. And what is it about like digital content creation? Because I feel like everyone wants to be a content creator, but what is it about putting it online that gets you? Because you've come from an acting background, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's so many things to talk about here. One is if you're an actor, you're waiting for an opportunity. Whereas obviously you have a skill set, which is, being authentic on camera, finding it easy to be yourself in front of a camera, and you have creative ideas probably, and you're in complete control of them when you just start making stuff. Like, I don't need to wait for anyone to do some stupid Jordan Peterson impression on Instagram. I can do that now. All I need is a green screen and my own phone. So it's creatively fulfilling when you're waiting for the acting phone to ring off, which can be too much work and then no work for 6 months. It's so sporadic. But then the other thing is, even when you are acting, you're saying someone else's words, right? You're a conduit for the writing and you're part of a team, which is its own amazing thing. But with digital content creation, I get to put out my own ideas and mold them the way that I want. And that is extremely creatively satisfying, and it keeps your skill set sharp in the interim.
It does, and there's one thing I notice, because people get like flack for wanting to be like, there's the influencer word, right? Like I prefer content creator, because influencer is like really presumptuous, but people get a lot of flack for trying to do it. But I'm just like, there's literally no gatekeepers. Like when you're an actor, you have to get an agent, and then the agent has to accept you, and then it's like the agent's all in control. The agent's going to put you forward to a casting director. The casting director will decide if they want you. Like it's like it gives you the freedom to just create what you want, put it out there, and see who provides value, who gets value from it, eh?
And the only gatekeeper in digital content creation is the audience. Like, you push something out and you just get immediate feedback. It's very satisfying. Like, what's working, what's not working. I don't know if you find, but I often find that the skits, videos I'm most excited about just tank, and the ones that I throw away that I almost didn't publish blow up. And I had to realize that I can't actually see clearly what's going to work and what isn't. The only way to learn is just by pumping it out. Practice in public, practice in public. It's the fastest way to learn.
So you don't know what, like before you put it out, whether it's going to do well or not?
No idea. In fact, I almost get angry because the ones that I'm like, oh, this sucks. I don't even like this. It'd blow up and I'd be like, what? I don't understand my audience at all. It's kind of terrifying, but exciting.
Do you find after doing it for a while, like you sort of, I don't know, it's 4 months, right? You're pretty fresh, but like you're kind of getting a bit of a gauge on what people want to see, or is it still too early?
Yes, definitely. It's like when we had dial-up and the pixelated picture is loading like one line at a time. I'm getting a slowly clear picture. Like, I find that different platforms take different topics more. Like TikTok is different to Instagram, is different to YouTube Shorts. I put the same skit out on 3 different platforms. I have a better gauge. This one will kill on Instagram. This one will kill on YouTube. Your radar develops over time. Yeah.
So what would you say? Because I see them as all the same. They've even got like Facebook Reels.
Yeah.
Now,
Facebook.
like everyone just copied TikTok, right? Yeah, Facebook, whatever. Just have that as like the private one where you just have your friends on or whatever.
Yeah, just have a little, or you just do Instagram. Does a thing where it'll recommend Instagram Reels on Facebook so that you'll get Facebook plays, but it'll tether to your Instagram. So you just do it 2 in 1. You don't have to worry about Facebook at all.
So from your knowledge, what would you say what's the difference between the...
Okay. So TikTok is the most democratic, aka it seems like the algorithm will give you a fair shot. It'll just pump out your stuff, and it's less dependent on having a past history of similar content. Like, you can make 10 completely different things and throw them out there. It seems like the algorithm will pick it up regardless if it's good content. And it will keep developing over time. Like, I have things that blow up maybe 2 weeks later than after I posted. YouTube Shorts doesn't happen that way for me. YouTube Shorts is, you put it out, it gets an immediate huge burst, and then completely flattens out. It doesn't get another view for the rest of its life. And then Instagram Reels is probably the one I do the best on, because I had a personal following before I started. But that seems to be the easiest one, or that and TikTok are the easiest one to get high view counts, especially Reels. Instagram uses Reels to push out to people that aren't your followers, where, you know, if you make posts and you look at the Insights analytics, it basically just pushes it to people that are already following you. Whereas I have Reels that were seen by 500 of my followers and like 50,000 people that weren't following me, which is a great opportunity to build the audience. Yeah, those are the differences, if that makes sense.
And when you're creating, do you like have in mind what platform you want to put it on? Or because Reels, it's all the same, like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, it's all the same, like the vertical length that you're just watching on your phone. What about like creating like a YouTube video, like the original YouTube video?
Yeah. So I struggle with this because I think ideally what I would do is I'd make a skit, you know, landscape, and then I would cut it into portrait and I would post it in its full length on YouTube, and then I would do a short version or the whole thing on TikTok and Reels, because TikTok can take like a 10-minute video now or something ridiculous. So on the other hand, I get stuck in analysis. What's the most optimal way to post this thing on this platform? And I start to try to cater my ideas to be like, oh, this would be great for Instagram. This would be great for, and I think this early in the journey for most early creators, it's all bullshit. There's so much bullshit in the analysis and analysis paralysis, when really what you need to do is get your ideas that make you curious, that you're interested in, that you want to express, and just pump them out, because you need to make like 100 bad videos before you find your audience, before you find what you want to do, and before you become proficient at the actual making of videos. And people use analysis and reading the books and paying for the courses as a scapegoat and a shield against actually taking the plunge and practicing in public.
Yeah, that's really relatable, I think. Like I don't know what it is. I feel like there's a difference between getting going with intellectual things and like physical things. Like I don't read about surfing or watch surfing videos before I go surfing, or like the same with basketball or like sports. But with, like starting a podcast, I just remember buying all these books and I'm like, I'll read all the books before I actually do it. I'm wondering if it's because the stakes are higher, because you're putting yourself out there online to people that you don't know, to be open to scrutiny. Like it's a pretty,
It is. It's self-preservation. And the thing is, you can't avoid it. You can't avoid someone disliking your content, and you can't avoid a comment on a post giving you that guilt and shame that you're so afraid of experiencing, the disapproval. But again, the only way to get through that is to experience it 100 times and just build up a bit of not a resistance to it, because you don't want to push it away, but just like an acceptance of it and not letting it tank you. But I agree, content creation is very vulnerable, because you're putting something out and going, this is my idea, do you like it? And then people will be like, no, I hate that idea. I can't believe you would show me that. And you're like, okay, but what's more important, that I please people, or that I express myself and become more competent over time? Because it's a curve of mastery, you know? You've got a new craft and you're going to suck at it, and the only way to get better is to do it.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. There's something about putting yourself online though. Like people are less afraid to be critical of you online, because they're not, I mean, you're technically just an idea. You're not a human being to people.
Yeah, and they're not a human being either. They're not culpable. They're just a avatar on a screen going, fuck you. And you're like, fair enough.
Have you had any criticism from random people online on your videos or anything? Anything major?
Yeah. Yes, I have had some criticisms because I think I mentioned to you when we had coffee that I made some silly joke in some TikTok where I made a joke about suicide or something, and I didn't even think about it at the time because it's just the way I speak, and I forget that it's a different world out there where it's going out to so many people. And several comments were like, "How dare you? How dare you joke about suicide? Like it's a very serious issue." And I'm just a very I don't like to take anything too seriously because it helps me deal with my own death anxiety and fears, and that's just the way I like to operate. But I forget that there are other people that do not like to operate that way, and their disapproval shocked me for a moment because I think a button for me is I really don't like getting in trouble, but I'm really afraid of. If I see a random call on my phone, like a private number, I assume it's the cops and they know what I did, even though I haven't done anything. I'm just sure I'm in deep, deep trouble. And so it's a good practice doing content creation because that fear gets triggered all the time. And that exposure therapy has helped me develop a resilience that I don't think I had before.
Yeah. I'm just going back to those comments like, oh, that's offensive. Do you sort of try reshape your creations to that? Because I understand there'd probably be a lot of people that don't find that offensive. Do you know what I mean? Like we can't just, if people don't like something that we're putting out online, it's like, oh, okay, I better do it differently. But it's like,
this is an age-old question. It's a very gray area. You know, how much do you say cater for the masses versus do what's in your soul or whatever? And that's an arbitrary line in the sand that I think everyone has to choose for themselves. I think I lean towards, it's about your values. You know, we have a hierarchy of values, and I think one of my top values is authenticity. So I'll probably, especially as I get braver, sacrifice mass appeal for the authenticity that will then bring in an audience that I think maybe might be smaller to begin, but more loyal as a fan base. That's how I think it should play out. Because, you know, in life, it's the same. If you're more melody, if you're more yourself, it's a quicker filter to bring in people that are really on your wavelength. Whereas if you're like kind of trying to please everyone, then no one really knows how to categorize you. And so you just become this kind of gray blob that you can't get too close to them because you don't really know what brand they're putting out, what vibe they're putting out.
Yeah, well, I've definitely noticed, I mean, for us, since we're beginning, I'm sure it's easy to say, yeah, we're being authentic, but I mean, it must get tempting. It's easy for us to say because we're in the hundreds subscribers, right? But I've noticed myself, putting out clickbait and I'm like, oh, 3,000 views. Okay. More subscribers. And it's just like, it is this battle between trying to be authentic and not, but yeah, I suppose I don't know what I'm asking here. Like, I just know, I do notice a lot of content creators are just putting stuff out there for clickbait and reaction and
yes,
because what is it? Audiences like click. I mean, this is back to the media. Audiences click on things that are shocking or disgusting or whatever. So it must be pretty hard to like resist doing that.
Again, it's a balance. Like, there's a great book, The Art and Business of Online Writing by Nicholas Cole, which is about, you know, when he talks about clickbait, he says it's only clickbait if the thumbnail, the title, the headline doesn't deliver on the promise. Like, if the video doesn't deliver on the promise of the packaging, the headline, thumbnail, title, then it's clickbait. It's not clickbait if you do something a little bit sensational, but then it's a really high quality video inside. And again, I think each individual has to choose how sensationalist are they willing to be before it starts to feel icky.
Yeah.
You know? There's a bit of a like, do I really need to be like in every video?
I suppose you just have to go, follow your gut, I guess. So how did you come up with, why don't you talk us through the kind of content you create and how you came up with it?
Yes. So I basically sat down and I recommend everyone should do this. This is something I've got from, every book says the same thing, but a good example is The Art of Impossible, which is if you want to find, you know, the area that you should be working in, try to write down all these things that put you in the flow state. Places where time seems to get lost, you know, you forget to eat or whatever, and you're like, oh my God. And And for me, those things are like comedy, doing silly bits with my friends, writing down funny ideas, and then self-help, self-improvement stuff, psychology books, philosophy. And there's this huge circle of stuff. And I'm thinking, is there a way I can meld all this together into one niche? And I'm still completely figuring it out. But right now I've got it down to two things, which is basically videos where I break down ideas that I'm working on in myself, social anxiety, for example, something I've dealt with for like, my whole life, and I get better and better at. And so I'm like, I've thought about this every single possible angle in my head. It'd be so helpful if I could synthesize it, help people get over it faster than it took me by not having to make all the same mistakes I did. And then the other half is I just want to do stupid stuff. Like, I just want to get absurd ideas, but then play them with really good, sincere, dramatic acting almost. And if I can combine those two things into one thing, that would probably be ideal, but I'm still working on it. So I'm still kind of spinning two plates at once.
Yeah. And do you find as you go, as you move along, your sort of vision gets clearer and clearer, or are you just...
It does and it doesn't. Honestly, it does over time. But if you look at the actual chart, where's my video? I can't see what I'm doing here. It goes like up, you get clarity, and then you fall and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Then it gets clear again. You're like, no, yeah, I know then you fall down again. But the line of best fit, the gradient is up. You're getting clearer and clearer, but it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I'll have a breakdown once a week. I'll be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Who do I think I am? No one is going to want to see this. This is a terrible idea. I'm not funny. And then I'll just force myself to just take a step forward, make another skit or something, or I'll get a message on a video that's like, hey, this really helped me with my social anxiety or something. And I'll be like, okay, no, I'm providing value. So the clarity will come, but you can't expect it to be a linear, perfect journey. It's going to be murky and rough, but you will come out the other side more clear.
All right, let's talk about some of your systems, Josh. So when you first started, did you already have like a understanding of, cameras and editing software? Why don't you walk us through like what equipment you use, what editing software you use?
Yeah. Okay. So I use Premiere Pro. I had very little knowledge, but I just used Sony Vegas when I was making those crappy little sea walking videos when I was 15. Hadn't really touched it since then, but I have a degree in engineering, which comes with a lot of complex maths and 3D rendering softwares. And I know some of that kind of translated over. Like, I picked it up a bit faster than most would. And then I watched just YouTube videos, Skillshare course on Premiere Pro, advanced Skillshare course on Premiere Pro, 10-hour courses each. And then just really all of that is helpful, but then just editing, just playing with the software and screwing up and getting completely enraged at how it wouldn't just acquiesce to my demands. It's the only way to get, just wrestling with the software is the fastest way to learn, and you'll want to break your computer, but I still do, but that's a huge part of it, because your brain, the fastest, and I'm getting a bit off topic, but the fastest way for your brain to learn is to struggle with a problem. It's called forced recall. If you're doing a math problem, don't check the solution, wrestle with the problem, wrestle with it, and your brain will be forced to make new neural connections to deal with it. And then once you find the solution, it's so embedded, because as you've had an emotional experience trying to figure it out, and then you'll never forget it. So
you're learning as you go, Josh.
Absolutely learning as I go. That's editing. Camera wise, I just have a Panasonic Lumix G85 there that I already had just sitting around. And that I just plug into this little Rode mic here, which is $120 or something, but sounds pretty good. So the audio and the video are already synced. Don't have to do that in post. And I just drag the files into Premiere and I start chopping it up.
And how do you measure your success? Is it like, because I'm trying to think about this too. Like, I think I'm measuring it by subscribers, but I don't know if that's good.
No. Well,
that's one measure, because you want a bigger audience, right? Like, if I was going to do a theatre show, the more people buy tickets. But it also has to be like what you are learning, right? Like, you're getting better at filming every day. You're getting better at speaking to the camera every day.
Yeah. Well, this is process versus outcome based thinking. Obviously, ideally, you would do just 0 outcome based, but you're a human being. Of course, it's nice to see the metrics.
Yep.
It's nice. We want to grow. It releases dopamine when you see your subscribers go up. You get a 1 out of 10 video. So I try to keep it like 70-30. 70 is process. I'll tell myself, okay, in this video, I want to try like a fast zoom here, or I want to take a screenshot from a journal article and have it highlight really cleanly with a sound effect. Little 1% improvements every video, because I know that is what's gonna, the outcomes will be a happy byproduct of focusing on that process stuff, because that's within my control. The subscriber stuff, not really within my control, except for crunching your analytics to see what's working and what isn't, and then translating that into a process-based goal. For example, my click-through rate was like 2.5%. I was like, okay, 2.5% is low. People aren't really clicking on my videos. YouTube's giving them a chance, but no one's clicking on them. So I spent a lot of time just on the thumbnail. My latest video's got 6.5% click-through rate, which is like almost triple. And that was, yes, look at an outcome, but then feed it into a process. Because if you're just sitting there praying for outcomes, it's just going to drive you mad, and then you'll get discouraged and you'll burn out when you go through a very natural dip, which we're going to go through so many plateaus on the road to wherever we're going. So at least having your predominant focus on your process will get you through that, because that is always going to be within your control.
And it can help you think that you're always moving forward, right? Because you might just plateau with some subscribers for like weeks. And how are you going to keep the momentum going if you're just measuring it based on subscribers?
Exactly.
But if you're getting better, then that's cool. What is your what's your like calendar like? How do you organize? Do you film on different days?
Oh, I thought you'd never ask, Melody. Let me show you.
Like, how does it work? Edit? How long does it take you to edit? Like, talk to me through that process.
Okay, so to edit, I'm also going to screen share right now. Let me bring this up. So editing takes me probably now 5 hours for video. It took me 12 at the start. Is that coming up for you?
Yeah.
Cool. So actually, what have I got here? This is a good example. So this is my, what are you seeing here? You're just seeing the Chrome, aren't you? This is my Notion page where I put everything. So I had a posting schedule and I don't use it at all. I made it once because I thought it would make me do things. Didn't. I never open it ever again. Then this is the part that's actually useful. I have Kanban boards for YouTube and Kanban boards for TikTok. So I have just ideas. Every time I have an idea, which is all the time, I chuck them in here. A lot of them you read the next day and you're like, that's a terrible idea. But you got to outsource it immediately from your brain, because if you try to hold it, you will lose it and you don't know which ones are going to be good in a week. So I tell everyone, just get them all out. Outsource everything on your brain to Notion or whatever your note-taking app is. And then if it's a good idea, I'll move it over here. I'll be like, yeah, it's a good idea. And then this is an important switch I've made. From that point on, it goes into title, thumbnail, and hook phase. So it used to be, and this is how everyone starts, you have a good idea, you write it, you film it, you edit it, and then you think about the title and the thumbnail and the hook. But after reading every book, watching every podcast on YouTube creation, you should start with your title, thumbnail, hook, and focus on the video idea before you even think about making the video. Video idea comes before everything. So then I start here now and I go, all right, is this a good idea? Can I think of a sexy thumbnail for it? Can I think of a good 30-second, 20-second hook at the start? Can I think of a sexy title? If yes, then, okay, now we're making it. Now we're writing it. Now we're filming it. Now we're editing it. Now we're uploading it. And I just move them around as I complete each stage. Same thing for comedy, of which you can see I have way too many ideas. What have I got here? About 130 ideas. Jesus Christ. And that's a simple process because it's just mainly, I don't even write them. I'm just like, idea, film, upload it.
It's good that you have somewhere to dump it though. Because my ideas come to me when I'm like driving in the car. So I put them on my iPhone notes and then I do go back to Notion and try dump it in there.
Yeah, that's great. That's the same thing with me. When you're driving, it's tough, but you need a process in place, I think, because it's just too much. You'll get overwhelmed unless you put it in the bin somewhere.
So how much content are you pumping out a week?
I'm trying to do one long form video a week, YouTube, and then one or two, ideally 3 skits a week, and then maybe a short or 2. But I've found I've been burning out, honestly. I've been trying to do too much. So I'm trying to reassess and give myself a bit of grace. Like maybe a YouTube video doesn't have to be every week. If I want to make something really good and not rush everything, maybe a video every 2 weeks. I'm still experimenting, but at least a skit a week, I think I need.
How much time does it take? So you got to, like now, like how much time to go from the idea to the upload? Per week?
For a skit, it could be, I have the idea in the shower. I go, oh, it's such a good idea. And I run out and I go, and I write it down and I film it then. And it's edited in 20 minutes and uploaded probably within 90 minutes of having the idea, that's as fast as it ever is. Or it can be a YouTube long form, which is like, I have an idea. I write it down. I kind of leave it for a week. And then I go, oh yeah, I'm actually going to make this, write a short script, film it a couple of days later, which takes about an hour. And then, leave it for a couple of days, 5 hours editing. Total work time, probably 10 hours. Idea to upload time, probably a week or 2 weeks.
Pretty time consuming, eh? What would you, what are some tips you would give people that just want to start? Yeah.
Yes.
Start content, start doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Here is the number one tip. You already know, and I hate it because everyone else says it. Just do it. Just shut up and do it. You'll be okay. I promise. Like, I promise you'll be okay. In fact, it'll be terrifying and you'll be like, oh my God, people are going to see I'm so weird in front of the camera. I talk so weird. Where are my eyes? What do I do with my hands? But if you push through that, it's just about putting it out. Just put it out. You can think about strategy. Talk to me about strategy when you've made 40, 50 videos, because otherwise before then it's just a pseudo productive way of avoiding the real work of making stuff.
And where do you hope you end up with all this content?
Where do I hope I end up? Ultimate goal right now is to make a full-time living just from content creation, so I can leave all my other jobs and just still do acting. But if I could make $80,000 a year from creating stuff, then that would be pretty amazing, I think. And then it would just be about making money, funnel it back into the content so I can make a skit that's like wildly high product. Like people are like, why is this so high production value when it's such a stupid idea? Which is basically Tim Robinson's I Think You Should Leave, which is my favorite show on Netflix. If anyone hasn't seen it, go and watch it. You'll hate the first episode and then you'll realize it's the best thing ever created. That is my ultimate. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. It's absurd.
And Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me in Erskineville, walking around the block, going to Coles. No, you can find me on Instagram at Joshua Shediak, Shediak. It's a random last name that my grandmother made up when she came here from Egypt, so no one else has it. It does not exist except for me and my brother. And I'm on Instagram, Joshua Shediak, TikTok, Joshua Shediak, YouTube, Joshua Shediak, Facebook, Joshua Shediak. My name has lost meaning because I said it too many times.
Well, I'll be sure to link all this in the show notes.
Yes,
otherwise,
thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. This is my first podcast appearance.
I'll get you on in a year from now and we'll see where you're up to.
Yeah, dude. We'll see where you're up to. I'm excited to see your journey, because what you're doing already, if I may, is, I think, sorely needed in the content world where there's so much sensationalism and it's like you got to be all the way left, or you got to be all the way right, or it's got to be vitriol. And when I see your conversations, they're so open and honest and non-judgmental. And whenever you're listening, I'm seeing someone that is excited about ideas and keen to learn, and not someone who is trying to win. And I think that is sorely needed in our society in general, but online. And I think people will undoubtedly respond to it, as they already have started to. So thank you just for making your shit, and please don't stop unless you want to.
No, thanks, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll
You're
take
welcome.
that. That'll keep me going for a while. All right.
Sure.
I'll see you later.
See ya.